Hi everyone, happy Tuesday, happy So What Day. I hope you're having a great start to your week and that you had a fabulous Valentine's Day and you're ready to kind of look forward to spring. For me, that seems really bizarre to even think about because it is like 68 degrees right now in Colorado. It's so bizarre. And I know I say this every spring that, spring is so fickle, right? We never know day to day what it's going to do. And it's not even spring until the end of March. But it certainly feels like spring already. And I know that groundhog said that we were going to have 6 more weeks of winter. And honestly, I hope it's true because we haven't even really had a winter here at all. So I don't know what it's like in your neck of the woods, but I'm already feeling the spring fever. Just because I think any day now our grass is gonna start popping up and coming back from hibernation, and we're getting these alerts that we need to water our shrubs and trees, and it's just so bizarre. And I really, really hope we get some moisture here, at least in Colorado. So I know different things are happening in different parts of the universe and the country and the world as far as weather goes, but it is just so bizarre this year. Our poor ski resorts just have no snow. So I'm really hoping that we have some kind of winter, but honestly, out here in Colorado, spring is pretty wintry. Usually, we usually have a lot of snow in the month of March. But at any rate, I am gonna look ahead and give you a project today that has all the spring vibes. And you can, use a bunch of different designs for this project to personalize it for any season, for any holiday, for any occasion, for any person. Um, and actually, after I made this project, it was kind of a happy accident because I was I was doing a little photo shoot for you all, and I was trying to think of different ways of displaying today's project, which is a little welcome sign. It says welcome spring, but we also have a design you could use that is called remember to smile. And just a little sentiment like thinking of you. You could use our celebrations machine embroidery collection. Any of those designs would look really cute on this little sign. But at any rate, I'm going to show you some different ways of displaying it because I had a happy accident happen when I was kind of walking around trying to figure out where to photograph this project, and I came up with some really cute ideas. So it kind of gave me an idea I've never even thought of before. So I hope you will enjoy. So before we get started, I'm starting to see a lot of you say hello and come on in to the live stream here. I also wanted to make sure to mention our felty spring assortment because that is what is featured in today's project. And I just realized I forgot to put an image of it on the screen here. And it happens to be our giveaway today for one lucky viewer who is watching, commenting, giving me those emojis, all of those great things. So I want to be sure to get our cute little assortment up here on the screen for you so you can see it. We have some new assortments as well on the Sulky site, but this is our spring felty assortment. And you can see it's got white and beige and a couple of different pinks and some green felty in there. If you aren't familiar with felty, it is our embroidery felt, and you can use it for, all kinds of sewing projects, of course, but it is specifically manufactured to accept a lot of thread. So you can use really, really dense designs on this felty and it doesn't buckle and pucker. Of course, we need to stabilize it as well. But, some other felts, sometimes there's even a stretch to them if they're like a fleecy type of felt. They can be difficult to embroider because they're already kind of a dense material. So when you're adding a bunch of needle holes and a bunch more thread to it, it can make it kind of wavery or puckery around satin stitch and fill areas of your design, but not sulky felty. I don't know how they do it, but I guess it's the way the fibers are compressed or something like that. The great thing about it as well is that it's polyester, so you can wash it, you can fuse it for applique. It can take a little bit of heat from an iron. It's just really, really sewer friendly. Okay. So this is our spring assortment that I'm going to be showing you today. And then we also have some brand new assortments at sulky.com. So as we are looking forward into summer and even the fall holidays, we've got a new summer assortment. So these are some really great neon-ish colors. We've got bright yellow, bright orange, bright pink, bright green, a turquoise, and some white as well. This is really, really great, again, for summer projects, but also would look really good for some springy projects as well. It's great to grab up these assortment packs. Let's see, they're only $16.99 when you grab them up like this, and you get 12 sheets of the felty. So, you know, it's a really great deal. It kind of saves, it saves time in that you don't have to pick out all of your individual colors that you would like, because we've, you know, curated it all for you. Let's see, I wanted to show you our Halloween felty assortment. Even though Halloween is quite a ways away, these are some really great Halloween colors. And I just really think that today's project, again, you can apply it to all different seasons depending on the colors and the designs that you use. And so you can grab up a bunch of different felty assortments. We also have a really, really pretty fall assortment. Hold on, I want to show that one to you. And it has, you know, mustard yellows and rust and browns. And isn't that really pretty and rich? Love that one. And of course, we still have our holiday felty assortment as well. If you're already thinking ahead to the holidays, which feels like they were just yesterday and yet so far away at the same time. So all these assortments are brand new at sulky.com. And again, we are going to be working with our spring felty assortment today for today's project. And that is our giveaway for one lucky viewer who is watching and commenting and all of those good things. Gift from Sulky. You also need to have liked our Facebook page or subscribed to our YouTube channel if you're watching there. And that way I can contact you if you happen to be today's winner. So for today's Sulky felty assortment, we are going to be using those green sheets of felty. But of course, you could use any color that you like from that assortment or any of the other assortments as well. Okay, so before we get to today's project, I want to see who out there has started their table runners for our In the Hoop Quilt Blocks embroidery session with Embroidery Library and Urban Threads. I did get notification. One person commented on the lesson page and said, my table runner is finished. And I was like, wow, this only went live last week. So that shows you how quickly they can come together in the hoop of your embroidery machine. You make all of these blocks in the hoop. So it's kind of, you know, a mashup between National Embroidery Month and National Quilting Month, which will start in March. We are, of course, in the thick of National Embroidery Month. But at any rate, if you have never tried quilting, maybe quilting is intimidating for you, maybe you don't like matching up all those corners and points and things like that, this class is for you. It is a completely self-guided session. And when I say session, I mean this is on our education platform at sewingonline.sulky.com. If you've never tried an online class before, these sessions are really great because you can start and stop anytime you like. It's not a live class where you feel like you have to keep up, or maybe it's going too fast for you, because a lot of the times when we're live, we get this live energy going and we move forward pretty quickly throughout the projects or the tutorial, kind of like what I do here on So What. You get an overview here, and then if that piques your interest, you can go over to the blog or the pattern or the website to get the full information. That's a lot like what I'm going to do today with our welcome spring sign. Whereas our sessions are super in depth. There's a lot of supporting information with each video. And with each lesson, you get a bunch of sections within those lessons that you can navigate to kind of however you want. So if you want to learn more about felty, let's say, and it's part of a session, there's likely going to be a whole section within a bigger lesson where you can learn more about felty and click on through and get more information, ancillary materials, printables, all kinds of things to help you along your way of either making the project that's featured in the session or learning more about that technique. Also, with the In the Hoop quilt blocks, let's see, you get a design collection where you can either make the double Lemoyne star in the hoop quilt block or the winding ways in the hoop quilt block. Both of these designs come in 2 sizes. They also come with these really cute micro embroideries, I'm calling them, already in the file for the quilt block. So you could see the double Lemoyne star has this little vine outline, on the edges of that small star in the center. And then the winding ways has this really cute flower bunch embroidery that's on the little petals. All right, let's see. Oh, someone is saying our Facebook feed isn't working, or our Facebook Live isn't working. Well, I hope that you are able to find us here on YouTube as well. I have no idea what goes on. One day our streaming is completely fine on all platforms. One day there are issues. Quite honestly, I do it the exact same every single time. So it's just so bizarre how that happens. All right. Of course, we do have a kit for our In the Hoop quilt block session. We have this neutral gray colorway that comes with these beautiful 5 linen fabrics by Art Gallery Fabrics, so you know they're high quality and fabulous. Also, perfect appliqué fusible web, soft and sheer stabilizer, and 8 spools of Sulky thread. Also, for these table runners, we're using Sulky 50 weight cotton thread for the embroidery. I know, we're not using rayon, we're not using polyester, we're working with cotton thread here. And you'll also learn about that as you go through the session, that you can't always substitute a thread weight or type for an embroidery design. But in this case, we did all the testing, made sure that the 50 weight cotton would work. 50 weight is going to be less heavy than a 40 weight thread. And most embroidery designs are digitized for a 40 weight thread. So that has to do with how close together and how long those stitches are in the design. So you can imagine if you're working with a really thick heavyweight thread, like a 30 weight thread or even a 12 weight thread, those stitches need to be a lot longer and a little bit further apart from one another to accommodate that thread thickness as the embroidery stitches out. So that's why you can't just go ahead and pick a thicker thread for a design that's been digitized for a 40 weight or lower thread. Does that make sense? So we've got to do a lot of testing and make sure that these designs, how they are, work with those thread weights that we've chosen. So a 50 weight thread's a little bit lighter weight than the 40 weight thread. And of course, it is cotton instead of rayon or polyester. And yes, you can embroider with cotton threads. You get this beautiful matte look to your embroidery rather than a shiny rayon or polyester. So when you are working with these beautiful, luxurious linen fabrics from Art Gallery Fabrics, that 50 weight thread just kind of blends in with the hand of those fabrics. It makes it really soft. It looks nice and matte. it's a really upscale look, I think, and it really goes together well. So you'll get 8 threads in the kit that coordinate with the fabrics. This is our neutral tan colorway as well. So I hope that you're all having fun with the session. It's only been active for a week now. So don't worry if you're not finished. I just was putting it out there to see if anyone would raise their hand and say, my table runner is done. We'd love to see what you're working on over on our Facebook group, the Sulky Stitch and Post. If you're not part of that group yet, all you have to do is search for Stitch and Post in Facebook, Sulky Stitch and Post, and then ask to join, and we will let you into the group and you can see what people are posting. A lot of people at this point are still posting their New Year's Eve bags, which is really fun to see. Love that. Even I saw some Sabrina bags the other day that were posted. Someone is also working on a, actually it's a Christmas project. It's like, you create an ornament every month for the 12 days of Christmas. And then by the time you get to December, you have all 12 completed. Really, really cute idea. So there's a lot of inspiration on that page. You can also ask questions directly to our Sulky support staff right there on the Stitch and Post. And we also have special deals and promotions that we post over there just for our Stitch and Posters. And actually, we just posted one on Friday for National Embroidery Month. So if you missed that, head to the Stitch and Post page and you will find a really, really, really great coupon that is good for the month of February. So, sorry, my eyes started twitching there. I got really excited about the coupon, I guess. All right, let's see. What thread is used in the bobbin? We're actually going to use that same 50 weight cotton in the bobbin. You can also use a lighter weight 60 weight bobbin thread for the designs as well. If you want to conserve your thread that you're using on top, you can use a 60 weight bobbin in the bobbin. All right, perfect. Oh, Facebook is glitchy this morning. I see. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Like I said, I have no idea what happens with social media. Every day is like a gamble, you know, what's going to go on. So I appreciate that you are able to hop on over to YouTube and watch from there. Perfect. All right, let's see. Ooh, someone says, I just started the Winding Ways in greens for St. Pat's Day. Love that. Can't wait to see it. So cute. And the little floral design is perfect. You can make it almost kind of like a 3 or 4 leaf clover design. Really, really cute. All right. Love that. Okay, just joined the group. Perfect. Just ordered bobbin thread. Everyone's ready to go. Love that. All right, one more thing to discuss before we get to today's project, and that is our European Christmas adventure with craft tours. I'm talking a lot about Christmas today. It's so bizarre. It's only February, right? The reason I want to mention this, though, is because you can get on a payment plan to join us this November in Germany, France, and Switzerland. It is going to be the Christmas adventure of your dreams. We're going to do all the Christmas markets that we can possibly fit in. We're going to go to Sulky headquarters in Stockstadt, Germany, and see where Sulky thread is made and manufactured. We are going to go to some amazing locations that are so picturesque in Switzerland and France. It's just going to be an amazing experience. And they do offer some payment plans. I did have some people ask me about that. They do require a deposit up front, and then you can get on a payment plan to pay the remainder. So the earlier you kind of get the ball rolling, the better it is, or the easier it is to manage that cost of the trip. And so I just wanted to put that out there for those of you who are thinking about this tour, because the earlier you register, the easier it can be on your pocketbook. in theory. Also, if you're doing your taxes, getting that kind of thing all wrapped up, maybe you're going to get a refund and you can apply that to this trip. Wouldn't that be amazing? Love that idea. So if you do have questions on this tour, please reach out to us at customercare@sulky.com, and I would be happy to answer those questions for you to the best of my ability, or at least get you in the right direction of somebody who can, especially if it's a question on the payment plan or a question that's specifically for craft tours, who really plans and executes this tour for us. But I can get you the answers that you need and definitely steer you in the right direction too. Also, we are going back to Bali in 2027 and Tuscany in 2027 as well. Those tours are spread apart a little ways. Bali will be in the beginning of summer and Tuscany is going to be in the beginning of fall. So you could join us and, experience all the different seasons in Europe and beyond. So check out all of those tours. I link directly to our tour page on the Craft Tours website in the description of today's post. That is also where you will find all the links to everything I'm talking about today, from the felty assortments to today's project tutorial, the designs that I'm featuring as well, all of that. I know, I hope I didn't bum you out by bringing up taxes. That's just, sorry. It reminded me that while I'm going to show you today's Welcome Spring hanger, I guess I was calling this a sign. We'll call it a sign, Welcome Spring sign. But it does have two little, oh my gosh, I'm blanking out. Two little straps, two little hangers, right? That you can wrap around a basket. You could tie it in a bow and put it on your front door. You could put it over a cute little hook or a doorknob, and it's just kind of the right size for that. So this sign comes in two different sizes. And this design is available at sulky.com. It's only $4.99 for the design. And we also have this version, which is Remember to Smile. So what goes on with this design? First off, the design will stitch out this quilting on your background fabric. Then it will sew out the design elements. So it's a pretty dense design. And what I did was I created this sign out of this design in two hoopings. So what I did first was, you want to choose a background fabric. I went with a quilting cotton, and I put some low loft batting behind it, and then some Sulky soft and sheer stabilizer. So I'm embroidering through all of that. So it gave me a lot of sort of thread count, if you will, for that quilting design to go through, so that my quilting cotton fabric embroidered beautifully. Then for the front, I embroidered the whole design on felty. So I'm going to go through it with you now, and you will understand it a little bit better. So you can choose from Remember to Smile here, or you can choose Welcome Spring. They're both the same sizes. It comes in two sizes. One size is for a 5x7 hoop, and one size is for a 6x10 hoop. I chose the 6x10 hoop, and I even enlarged it on my machine screen a little bit as well. So here's my happy accident. Is this the cutest thing ever? So I tied my sign around this cute little vase and filled it full of tulips, and I thought this was so cute. I've never displayed a project like this before, and I just think it's absolutely adorable. It makes a great gift for someone if you're gifting them flowers, and especially that Remember to Smile machine embroidery design. If you want to use that instead of Welcome Spring, this would be really great if you have a friend who's undergone surgery, or maybe they're going through chemo, or, they just need a pick-me-up, right? You could gift them some flowers in a little vase and tie your little embroidered sign to it. So cute. Love that idea. I love it more than a card. A lot of the times cards just get put in the recycling bin and there went your $5, right, on the card. Instead, you can spend $5 on this embroidery design, make something with some scrap fabrics and a little bit of felty, and they've got something that they can hold on to and display in different ways. So really, really cute. All right. So first up, we're going to import the design into our embroidery machine. And as I mentioned, excuse me, I took that large design file, which is for a 6x10 hoop. It actually measures, you could actually probably use a 5x7 hoop for it because it's 3.31 inches by 5.80 inches. So even though it says 6x10 hoop, if you rotate it, you can get it in a 5x7. Same goes, well, no, the other one's 2.74 by 4.80, so you do need a 5x7. So you can imagine how dense this quilting is if it's that small, right? It's kind of the size of a small picture, right? So what I did, I just used my machine screen and I enlarged the whole thing 20%. Just dragged that outer box, enlarged it 20%. Now on my machine, it will compensate for the stitch count when you enlarge it only up to 20%. If you want to go any larger, you've got to use software. And at that point, I can't help you because we're not in the software business and everyone's software is going to be different. So I can't really speak to what your software is going to do with the design, but you could certainly test it out and see. I found that enlarging that large design 20% was the perfect size to hang on a little gift basket, to hang on a little vase, to put on your front door or on a doorknob. Super cute. Incidentally, this would make a very cute little shelf pillow as well, but I digress. All right, so we're going to import the design into our machine. You certainly do not have to enlarge it like I did. I'm just letting you know that I did, and I was successful with that. All right, so we're going to start with our first hooping, and we are only going to embroider those quilting stitches. We are going to skip all the motifs altogether. That way, our little sign has quilting on the front and quilting on the back. So I'll just show it to you a little closer up. You can see how dense those quilting stitches are. It's hard to see the little pattern, but it's little rainbows. Okay, so cute. All right, so we are going to hoop up our soft and sheer stabilizer. And I did not hoop the batting and the fabric. The batting makes it almost hoop prohibitive, okay? Because of the loft of the batting, you don't want to put that in the hoop. It's going to cause your fabric to pucker, and you might even not be able to get your batting and fabric in the hoop tightly enough, okay, to support all the stitching and everything. So even though I used a magnetic hoop, because a lot of people don't have magnetic hoops, all I did was hoop the stabilizer and then lay the batting and fabric as one over the top of the stabilizer. If you have a magnetic hoop, you can get away with hooping all of those layers, but instead we are going to secure the batting to our hooped stabilizer using some KK2000, or you could hand baste it to your stabilizer once it is hooped. Okay. Then we're going to take our backing fabric and secure that to the batting. Now we can head over to our sewing machine. Let's see, Linda's saying, what machine do you have? I have a Husqvarna Viking Designer Epic 2. That is the machine that I use for machine embroidery most often. I also have an entry-level Brother machine. I use it less frequently because it only has a 4x4 hoop. All right. So once we have all of that secured, we're going to take it over to our embroidery machine, and we are only going to embroider those quilting stitches. So only embroider step 1. And you can see just how dense and densely quilted it comes out. I will mention if you are using like a gingham fabric like I did, which I feel like it just screams spring, you want to be careful when you are placing this in the hoop so that when you go to cut out your backing piece, it looks straight, right? We don't want your gingham stripes, slightly askew, and then you're putting all of these sort of linear quilting designs over the top of it. So just keep that in mind when you are hooping or placing that fabric in the hoop, if you go with a stripe or a gingham or something like that. All right, once you have the quilting portion done, which is just step one, we're going to take all of that off of the hoop and we are going to work on our sign front. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing and we're going to hoop our soft and sheer stabilizer. Then you're going to place your batting and then we're going to place our felty over the top of it. All right, secure all those layers with your temporary spray adhesive and then place it on the hoop and embroider the design. So this time it's going to stitch out all of our quilting stitches and then it's going to it's going to stitch our welcome spring motif. All right. I just think this turns out so beautifully. I love the satin stitching of the lettering. It's just really easy to read, really cute colors. Love it. All right. Once that is all embroidered, then we can remove that from the hoop and we're going to trim it up according to the instructions. The full instructions are on the Sulky blog because you guys know I can never remember all the dimensions and all the everything. So head on over to the Sulky blog and you'll get all of the dimensions. Basically what we're doing is trimming it a 1/4 inch beyond those quilting stitches. The quilting stitches we did in step one for our backing fabric and our front fabric. We're just going to trim those fabric sandwiches a 1/4 inch beyond those stitching line. Okay, what brand of magnetic hoop do I have? I have a dime magnetic hoop system. I have all the sizes of magnetic hoops. Unfortunately, I don't know that they are being manufactured anymore. We used to offer them at sulky.com. So you may have to look around to some different sellers for those, or you can look to your specific machine brand and see if they offer magnetic hoops. And yes, it will work in a regular hoop as well. You do not have to have magnetic hoops for this at all. If you are using your standard hoop, you will simply hoop your soft and sheer, and then you're going to float your batting and fabric or batting and felty over the top of your hooped stabilizer. All right. So once we've trimmed that, we are going to trim that backing fabric as well. And then we have both of our front and back signs ready to sew together. So we need to create those little ties so that we have something to hang this on. So we are going to create some fabric strips and we're going to fold them in half lengthwise with wrong sides together and press them flat. And I think I just used maybe like 10-inch long ties by 2.5 inches wide. And that's the same width I used to bind it. So you can create a really long 2.5 inch wide binding strip and then just cut 2 10-inch links off of it and you'll have your ties and you'll have your binding ready to go. All right, so I'm folding this in half, pressing it to get a nice fold line, then unfold it and fold those long edges to meet in that center fold line and press again. And then we will fold that in half along our first fold line and press again. And now we have our ties ready to top stitch. So here you want to press that again really well. And then we are going to, I almost forgot. We do need one finished end of each tie. So what you want to do is unfold all of those folds. You can see those those 3 really distinct fold lines that I just created. You're going to unfold that along the end fold the end about a 1/2 inch to the wrong side and press, and then you'll refold that strip along all those previous fold lines and press again. That way our end is not raw and our long edges are also enclosed, and now we can sew both of our ties. So we're going to take it over to the machine and we're going to top stitch both long edges and that short folded end. And then you can set aside your 2 little handles, and we're going to position them on the front piece of our sign. And I just put them sort of equidistant, maybe about 2 inches or so in from each upper edge corner. And then we want to baste those in place. Once we have that, we can sew our front to our back. So we're going to put our front and back wrong sides together, and we're going to sew just, maybe a little narrower than that 1/4 inch seam, or you can sew right along that 1/4 inch seam. And we're just going to sew our little mini quilted sign perimeter. And that's also going to, further secure our ties as well. Make sure those are out of the way of the stitching as well. And now we're going to add binding. When we add binding, this is going to finish our raw edge and make sure that our sign is all completed. So I made my own binding, again, using 2.5 inch wide fabric strips, folding them in half wrong sides together. And then I bind the whole outer edge, starting with the back of my sign, mitering the corners as I reach them. Then I fold the binding, wrap it around to the front of the sign, and clip it in place. Again, mitering the corners as I reach them. And for your binding ends, since everything's pretty bulky here, we've got 2 layers of really low loft batting. We've got our layer of felty. We have our layer of backing fabric. And then we also have those 2 layers of soft and sheer stabilizer in between. So the reason that I use all of those layers and the 2 layers of batting is so that this has a really nice structure to it. It isn't floppy at all. When you're hanging it, the corners aren't going to come forward and start flopping. It really just hangs like a sign, quite honestly. I don't know how else to put it, but I did see somebody said, why did you add batting to both sides? And that's really why. And I also wanted the loftiness from the quilting along the back side too. So it feels really nice and kind of squishy. And then we've got our felty on the front for some nice texture. So that's why I added all those layers. So at this point, when you are joining your binding ends, I do recommend that you sew those together. So start off with them hanging really long. And then when you get to where they're going to meet, leave about 2 or 3 inches on either side if you have that room to spare on your little sign. And sew those together on your machine, and then rewrap them and finish sewing that binding seam. Rather than railroading the ends or overlapping them, because that's just going to give you even more bulk to contend with. So then I fold my binding to the right side, again, mitering those corners, and then I just top stitch that final binding seam. And it is important when you're doing the top stitching. I've got my top stitching there. I started on the inside edge of that first handle when I was sewing. And then you want to pull your handle out of the way and top stitch that down as well. That way, when you go to hang it, it's nice and flat along that upper edge. And it's not going to, fall forward or backwards when you're hanging it, because you've got those top stitches making sure that they're hanging in the right direction. And I used a contrasting yellow thread for my binding, the same thread that I used for the background stitches or the quilting stitches on both sides. Super cute. You could even do like a little message on the back, like thinking of you, or, sign it in some way with stitches. I love that too. It's kind of like a card and a sign all in one. And then we have our finished sign. It really, really comes together quickly after you have completed that machine embroidery. So it's going to depend on how, complicated or stitch heavy your embroidery design is. But the rest of it, it's just a matter of adding these ties in the binding, sewing it all together. So really, really simple, thoughtful gift to make, something that really celebrates spring or reminds somebody to smile. Of course, you could use whatever design that you like and just change up the dimensions of this to kind of frame that design. Add some little hanging loops. And again, it looks really, really cute on a vase of flowers or tied to the top of a little basket full of gifts and goodies. I just think it's such a sweet little easy, fun, personalized project to create. So I hope you feel the same. And it's a great way to use those cute little Sulky felty assortment packs. Again, I'm going to give away this spring felty assortment pack valued at $16.99 to one lucky viewer who is watching, commenting, giving me those emojis. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our channel. If you're watching on Facebook and you were able to today, make sure to like us on Facebook so that I can contact you if you happen to be today's winner from Sulky. That's right. So this is the spring assortment. Again, if you missed the beginning of today's show, we also have a brand new summer felty assortment that is super bright. I love it. It's giving totally 80s. We also have a really fun Halloween felty assortment and a really, really beautiful, rich fall felty assortment. And of course, our holiday felty assortment is still up there as well. So these would coordinate with pretty much any holiday or seasonal, or even maybe your favorite, sports teams, depending on, who those are and what you're making and what design you choose to put on your sign. So I hope that gets you a little bit out of the winter doldrums if you happen to be experiencing that these days, and looking forward to some blooming flowers and some spring colors and all of those fun things. All right. Hey, Colleen, I see you there. Had to join on YouTube. She says, I really like the smile one. Love that. Would be cute to put this on a spring sign. In a door wreath. Great idea. So cute. I even like hanging the little ties on the wreath, and it just, great idea. Really, really cute. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining me today, and thanks for figuring out how to watch on YouTube, since Facebook wasn't very reliable today. I appreciate that. And again, head on over if you haven't started already on your In the Hoop Quilt Blocks table topper project or mini quilt or placemat set or whatever you decide to make from your kit for our In the Hoop Quilt Blocks session. If you haven't started yet, it's totally fine. It is start anytime. It's ready when you are, and it will remember where you left off as well. So if you only have a pocket of time to sew, or maybe you can only focus on one block at a time, completely fine to come back at your leisure and finish up when it's convenient for you. All right. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Be creative. Get out there. Get to your sewing machines. And I look forward to